Actually, let's touch on this for a second.
Oh my god!
Because last week there was a very bizarre story. Had you ever heard of Jamal Khashoggi before?
No, I mean, I felt like the name was sort of familiar, but I don't think I was that familiar with him.
I wasn't that. I knew who he was, but I wasn't particularly familiar with him. But I remember watching him on Al Jazeera like a year ago or 6 months ago or so, and like you could watch the thing and say, okay, he's probably pissing off the Crown Prince because the Crown Prince is a horrific, autocratic, spoiled little brat who, aspires to even, Saudi monarchy is ruthless and dictatorial, but there's still some sort of sense of a certain type of give and take in their context. And this guy wants to get rid of that. Yeah. So, okay, you can imagine that pissed him off. But like his critique was super within the it was a friendly critique.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, it was never like we need to get rid of the monarchy.
No,
this kid doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
The sort of critique you make when you know it's within the bounds of acceptable critique, basically.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Or so you think.
Or so you thought at the time.
You have Trump sitting there probably literally I don't want to complete the image of him jerking off to but literally Trump is sitting there being like, they killed a guy in their own embassy. Oh my God. That kid is so cool. Trump has his little it's like MBS, and the North Korean guy is just like, oh my God. He had a murder team sent to an embassy to kill a journalist. So cool.
I wonder if they like me.
Yeah, I wonder if he likes me. Do you think he thinks I'm cool? So basically this guy went into a embassy in Istanbul to get divorce papers so he could remarry in Turkey, and he hasn't been seen since. And the Turkish police have said they think he was murdered inside the compound, and I don't know what their theory of what happened to his body is. That's the Turkish line.
There's apparently a security camera footage of a car, maybe? I
think there is a ton of security footage. I don't know how much has been released yet. The Saudis are saying the completely implausible, it came and he left.
Spontaneous human combustion.
Yeah, just we don't know. We don't know. So Thomas Friedman, who, if you recall, a couple weeks ago, Matt Taibbi was in here, and we did a read of Thomas Friedman's Arab Spring Saudi style. Where he talked about how MBS was the great reformer and so on. And he's been sending increasingly neurotic tweets. Hey, dude, not cool murderer journalist.
Or it's they're not picking up the phone, and he's like, hey, I haven't heard from you in a while. Just want to make sure you haven't murdered anyone that I care about. I mean,
you murdered a Washington Post columnist. That's not cool. Of course, the message is incredibly powerful that a thug would send, right? Which is if I will murder a prominent international American-connected journalist in an embassy in another country, what the fuck do you think I'm going to do to you, grassroots activist with a WhatsApp? And all of the credit that this bastard got for letting women drive happened at the same time. He's literally imprisoning.
He was imprisoning all of the fucking activists. It was insane.
Yeah. It's called triangulation.
Yeah.
This is Thomas L. Friedman. Let's just read just a little bit of this. Just praying for Jamal Khashoggi. Saudi Arabia stands accused of killing him. If it did, it will be a disaster for the regime of Mohammed bin Salman. You come into the room right now, young man. You don't kill Washington Post columnists at embassies. Last November 7th, I wrote a column about the new Saudi crown prince, Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and ended this way. As a veteran Saudi journalist remarked to me of MBS, this guy saved Saudi Arabia from a slow death, but he needs to broaden his base. It's good that he's freeing the House of Saud of the influence of the clergy, but he's not allowing any second opinion of his political and economic decisions. Now, I want you to guess, Alex, who that quote might be by, and who he might be actually throwing under the bus by giving that graph of his times.
I mean, do you think the quote was maybe by the guy who might have been dismembered in the consulate? Is that?
I don't think that the Saudi journalist, who is also a friend, would mind if I identified him now.
Oh my God.
His name was Jamal Khashoggi.
I don't think he would mind now if I identified him criticizing.
I don't think he would mind after being murdered in an embassy for saying the most anodyne comments imaginable.
Yeah. Boy.
Jamal had come to my office a few days earlier for a long talk about Saudi Arabia at MBS. My views on Saudi Arabia are my own, but Jamal had a big impact on them. He admitted the inside of government. He understood that the perfect was never on the menu there. You had to work with what you had, including a hit squad that would fly to Istanbul to kill you while you got divorce papers. No, that's my addition. He loved his country and wanted to see it succeed, and he believed that MBS could shake things up and make needed radical reforms. But he also believed that MBS needed a lot of coaching. Because he had a dark side and was too isolated from a small ruling circle.
Oh. That seems like that.
How am I being uncharitable that he's basically totally throwing the guy under the bus?
No,
and
you are
his, like,
not.
You should not have murdered him column?
Well, so if there's a world in which the Saudi line is that we didn't murder him, but if they're like holding him, Tom Friedman being like, here's all these other criticisms he gave.
On the off chance, if he's being in a holding pen in Jeddah, here's another thing he said that will piss that little lunatic off.
Like maybe they're just detaining him, but also he said the Crown Prince has a dark side, and that's a problem.
They were literally going to release him tomorrow.
Then they
synchronize the embarrassment.
Someone ran in with a printout of Friedman's column.
Look at what Thomas Friedman is saying.
I think it just goes to like
Dad, I am killing him.
It just goes to the like complete like lack of moral imagination of these people that Friedman is like, this could be the guy who could really get some reforms done. And on the other hand, he has a dark side and kills his opponents. Like
I do like that. That's a great, like, it's not like, I'm not a perfectionist, but I like how it's like, this guy is pretty good. Maybe he does some shady deals on the side. Maybe he's known to be like, but it's like, great reformer. Also a mass murderer on the make.
Yeah.
A dark side.
Yeah, maybe you pull back on the great reformer part too.
Yeah.
Well, a reformer.
Right. It's still in the column. It's still in the graph.
I like how Friedman, who's just spent like the past few months just standing for MBS all across the media,
everybody has.
is now
Zuckerberg,
acting like he's the only one who saw it coming. Like he's like,
yeah, I know.
I was always worried about his dark side.
It's actually it's much more shameless for him to be like.
Yeah.
Like, well, like we all knew he had to work on this dark side thing. It's like, I don't remember that part. I don't remember that part of your other column.
Yeah, I didn't see that in it's winter in Saudi Arabia, but it's actually spring because this kid's so fucking awesome because he has his iPhone fully updated or whatever other bullshit you were peddling a couple months ago, you asshole.